Okay, so I'm on Canvas. Let's do our last assignment, assignment 13. So let's click on the directions. So it says in practice quiz 13, we were trying to answer the question, do women and men choose party affiliation at the same rates? So our null hypothesis was gender and party affiliation are independent variables. So that just means that women and men choose their political parties at the same rates. So to answer the question, we found our chi-squared value was 30.07, and our p-value was this tiny thing, 0.00, bunch of zeros, 2954. So this is a tiny number, very close to zero. After this, we conducted a hypothesis test with our alpha equal to 0.01 and concluded with 99% confidence that gender and party affiliation are not independent variables. So you might ask, how did R compute the p-value? Okay, so in this assignment we will look at an intuitive way we could get R to find an approximation for our p-value. So again, our p-value is almost zero up here. See it right here. So in order to do that, we'll first need to create a population of size n. We'll talk about the n value in a second, where p% of the people are type 1. So in practice quiz 13, type 1 will be female, say, and q% are type 2. In practice quiz 13, type 2 was, we could say, male. So in our created population, we're making it so the null hypothesis will be true. So we will then program R to take k samples of size S1, S2, and S3, where S1 will be number of Democrats from our practice quiz 13, S2 will be number of Libertarians from practice quiz 13, and S3 will be number of Republicans from practice quiz 13. After this, we will look at the histogram of our sample chi-squared values from our k samples. And then from the histogram, we will then approximate how likely we are to see a value of 30 or more. So i.e. our p-value, which will be the area to the right of 30 in our histogram. So in a population, we'll make the following assignments. We're going to say 1 is female, 0 is male. Okay, so let's go through now and do our assignment. So step 1, open Google Doc and call it A13 chi-squared test simulation. Let's do that. So open our Google Doc up here. So Google Docs, there it is. And this one. Click on the blank doc. Okay, so let's rename it. Okay, so we're done with that step. So step 2 then says paste these directions into your Google Doc, then close the directions. Okay, so let's take this whole thing. Paste it into our Google Doc. Then we'll close the directions. Okay, so we've done now step 1 and step 2 actually. So we've done the first 2 steps. Now paste template below into your Google Doc. So let's open our template. So here's the chi-squared, should be squareness, simulation. So let's take this code and copy it to the bottom of our Google Doc here. So right here, below all the directions. So there we go. Let's close this this guy, and now we've done step 3. Going up here. Oh, step 3. So we can take step 3 away now. It says in the template, paste in step 3, so the one that we have at the bottom. let k equal 1,000 and n equal, so that's, I think, so you can't put commas when you're writing a number. I think it's 5 million. So let's take those. Let's take these guys onto the bottom here. Let's place them at the top here. Okay, so our k value then is 1,000, so this is already 1,000 here, and the n is the 5 million guy. So down to your n right here. So take that away. Okay, so we've replaced the k and n. Now let's take those away. Let's go up then. So we've done the k and n. I guess we can take those away now. The p proportion woman in practice quiz 13 sample. So at the top up here I have the practice quiz 13 link. Click on it and go down and find the proportion women in our sample. We found that down here somewhere. Let's see. Okay. So proportion women in sample right here. Proportion women in sample. So it's 0.5647. So let's go back and replace it. So that's going to go in place of P. Yeah, it's up here, P. So go down to our code and find our P right here. Oh, then our Q will be, let's see, so we've done the proportion of women, so let's take that away. Now we need Q is the proportion of men in our practice quiz 13. So go to practice quiz 13, and proportion of men is 0.4353. So go down and replace that, your Q value down here. So right here. Okay, so we've done portion of men. Okay, so the S1 is number of Democrats in practice quiz 13 sample. So go to practice quiz 13 sample. So looking at our table here, the number of Democrats would be the sum of the first column here, so it's going to be 1246. That's going to be our S1. So let's go down and replace the S1 with 1246. So right here. Okay, so we've done that. Take that one away. So S2, number of libertarians in practice quiz 13. So go practice quiz 13, number of libertarians was 566. Okay, so let's go down to our code. And for S, oops, there it is S2. So right here is our S2. Replace that, oops, 566. So we've done our S2. Oh, right here. So take that away now. So last one is our S3, number of Republicans in practice quiz 13 sample. So number of Republicans is this column, so it's 945. So it's S3. S3. Okay, so I think that was it then, isn't it? For step 4. Yeah. So now we can take this away. Now paste the, so we're going to run the R code. I should say run here. Now run the R code. So let's do that. Okay, so let's paste our code. Okay, let's go to run our script. Close this now. So go to run our script. So our command.com, sign in, say OK, get rid of this, and run this. It's going to take a few seconds because it's doing quite a few things. So in particular, it's how many samples do we have here? Our K value was, let me go back and look. Yeah, the K was actually 1,000, so we're going to see down here it's doing 1,000 samples. So here's all the chi-square values it got from doing its samples. So it just did random samples from our population. And so you can see there's all our chi-square values. This is assuming the null hypothesis is true. This is all the chi-square values we would get doing 1,000 samples. So there are 1,000 samples there. So notice here that there's a 15, I guess, there. But it doesn't look like there's any bigger than 30 anywhere. You can check. When you run yours, it will look a bit different because every time you run it, it will look a bit different. So let's look at our histogram now, which is down here. So let's open this new window. There's our histogram. So you can see then there's nothing to the right of 10, it doesn't look like. So we're looking for to the right of 30, the area to the right of 30. Well, there's nothing in our histogram to the right of 30. So that would mean the p-value would be 0 for 30. So, and that's consistent with what we found, because it was almost 0 with the p-value. So let's take this histogram now and copy it into our guide. I'm going to copy my histogram at the bottom of our code here. Okay, so pretty much from our histogram, it looks like the p-value to right, the area to right of 30 is essentially 0. Okay, so let's summarize. So going up here. So we did 5. Now 6. Let's answer this question. So here's our conclusion. So looking at our histogram, there is no area to the right of 30, which implies our p-value is essentially 0 for a chi-squared value of 30. This is consistent with a p-value of 0.0000002954 we obtained in practice quiz 13. So again, looking at our histogram, which is over here, you can see at 30, right here, there's no area to the right. If I had said 5, say, so 5 would be about here, then there would be an area to the right of 5, and we could try and figure out that area. But it's asking for the p-value for 30, so that means to the right of 30. So it'd be all the area to the right of 30. That would be the p-value for 30. But there's no area here at all, so the p-value would be 0, or essentially 0. If you run yours, you may end up with a 30 or larger perhaps, but you can see that when I ran here, we did 1,000 chi-square values, and none of them got even close to 30. So it looks like the biggest I think I saw was 15 or something. Okay, so let me go back to my conclusion here. There it is. So then we're done with the assignment. So last step is just to submit it. So just go get shareable link and copy that, and then just submit it like you usually do. So we're done.